The system rewards comfort, not competence. From the moment you enter school, you're taught to follow instructions, stay within boundaries, and aim for approval instead of mastery. Sit still, memorize, repeat. Do that long enough, and you're praised, promoted, and kept safe. The goal was never to make you exceptional. The goal was to make you predictable. Predictable people are easy to manage, easy to replace, and easy to control. Comfort is sold as success. A stable paycheck, fixed hours, weekends off, just enough freedom to feel independent, but never enough to walk away. You're encouraged to avoid risk, to fear failure, to play small because small feels secure. Competence, on the other hand, is uncomfortable. It requires effort when no one is watching. It demands learning skills that aren't handed to you, thinking independently, and questioning systems that benefit from your obedience. The modern system doesn't punish laziness, it subsidizes it. Convenience has been engineered into every corner of life. Food arrives at your door. Entertainment never ends. Distractions fit in your pocket. You don't have to think deeply, move much, or struggle often. And when you stop struggling, you stop growing. Competence dies quietly in comfortable environments. Highly competent people are dangerous to a comfort-based system. They don't rely on permission. They don't wait for instructions. They can create value anywhere, under any conditions. That's why competence is rarely encouraged and often disguised as unnecessary stress or arrogance. You're told to relax, slow down, and enjoy life, while the rules of the game are being written by people who did the opposite. If you look around, you'll notice the most rewarded behaviors are compliance, consistency, and silence. The most punished behaviors are ambition, curiosity, and nonconformity. The system doesn't need you to be great, it needs you to be comfortable enough to stay and just uncomfortable enough to keep showing up. Laziness is engineered, not accidental. It didn't just appear because people suddenly lost ambition or discipline. It was designed, optimized, and packaged to look harmless. Every system you interact with is built to reduce effort, delay thinking, and keep you passive. Not because it helps you, but because it keeps you dependent. When effort disappears, awareness follows. When awareness disappears, control becomes effortless. Look at how everything is structured. Infinite scrolling removes stopping points. Autoplay removes choice. Notifications hijack attention before you decide where it goes. Algorithms learn what weakens your focus and feed it back to you on repeat. None of this is random. These systems are stress-tested, refined, and perfected to keep you consuming instead of creating. The less energy you expend, the more predictable you become. Even education plays a role. You're trained to wait for instructions, deadlines, and permission to think. Curiosity is limited by syllabi. The habit that forms isn't learning, it's compliance. Over time, initiative feels uncomfortable because it was never exercised. Laziness isn't a personal failure at that point, it's a learned behavior. The workplace continues the pattern. Busy work replaces meaningful progress. Meetings replace output. Performance is measured by hours, not results. As long as you appear active, no one questions whether you're effective. This rewards stagnation and punishes intensity. The person who coasts survives. The person who pushes disrupts the balance. Entertainment finishes the job. Dopamine is available instantly, endlessly, and without effort. Your brain learns that pleasure requires no struggle. Once that connection is formed, discipline feels like pain instead of investment. You're not lazy because you're weak. You're lazy because you were conditioned to trade effort for ease at every opportunity. When effort is removed from daily life, resilience disappears quietly. You stop trusting yourself to do hard things. You start avoiding resistance instead of seeking it. And the most effective part of the design is that you blame yourself. never questioning the environment that trained you to behave this way, the systems that profit from your inertia, the incentives that reward you for staying exactly where you are, comfortable, distracted, and waiting for someone else to decide what happens next, while your potential stays dormant, unused, and slowly forgotten as days blur together and momentum fades into routine, and routine hardens into identity without you ever noticing when the switch was flipped and the choice to push was replaced with the habit to pause, and the engineered ease became the default setting of your life. Time is the real currency you're being taxed on, and most people never see the bill. Money is loud, visible, and easy to measure, but time disappears quietly. It's taken in small, acceptable amounts that feel harmless in isolation. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, an hour lost scrolling, another wasted waiting. No alarms, no warnings, just gradual erosion. By the time you notice, years are gone, and nothing meaningful was built with them. The system understands this perfectly. That's why it charges you in time instead of cash. Bureaucracy, inefficiency, unnecessary steps, endless forms, pointless meetings, slow processes. Each one steals minutes that add up to lifetimes. You're trained to tolerate it because it feels normal. Waiting becomes routine. Distraction becomes background noise. You stop protecting your time because you were never taught its true value. Every subscription, platform, and obligation competes for the same limited resource. Attention is monetized, engagement is measured, and your presence is converted into profit for someone else. The longer you stay distracted, the more valuable you are to the system, and the poorer you become in real terms. You can earn more money, but you can never earn more time, which makes every wasted hour a non-refundable expense. People say they don't have time, but what they really mean is their time is already spent reacting instead of creating, spent consuming instead of building, spent maintaining a lifestyle that demands constant attention but produces no long-term leverage. You're kept busy enough to feel productive and exhausted enough to avoid questioning why. The most dangerous illusion is that time is abundant when you're young and manageable when you're older. In reality, time is always scarce, but awareness comes late. By the time urgency appears, habits are set, responsibilities are heavy, and freedom is expensive. The tax was collected daily, invisibly, through comfort, distraction, and compliance, while the opportunity to compound effort quietly slipped away, replaced by routines that feel safe but lead nowhere, environments that drain energy instead of multiplying it, and systems that benefit most when you trade your hours for survival rather than ownership, progress, or control over how your life actually unfolds. Skills beat credentials in the new economy, even though most people are still chasing permission instead of ability. Degrees, titles, and certificates were designed for a world that moved slowly, where information was scarce and career paths were predictable. That world no longer exists, but the mindset remains. People collect credentials hoping they'll unlock security, while the market quietly rewards those who can produce real outcomes. A credential proves you completed a process. A skill proves you can solve a problem. One is static, the other compounds. Skills grow through use, adapt to change, and transfer across industries. Credentials expire the moment the system that valued them shifts. That's why so many qualified people feel stuck, while less educated individuals move faster, earn more, and control their time. The internet flattened the playing field. Knowledge is no longer locked behind institutions. Anyone can learn high-value skills from anywhere, often faster and cheaper than traditional routes. But learning without pressure is uncomfortable, so most people choose the familiar path. They outsource confidence to certificates instead of building competence through repetition and failure. Employers, clients, and markets don't care how long you studied. They care how well you execute. They reward speed, adaptability, and results. A portfolio outperforms a resume. Proof of work outperforms promises. Yet the system still encourages people to delay action, accumulate credentials, and wait to be chosen instead of choosing themselves. Skills also shift power. When you can create value independently, you don't need permission to earn. You're not tied to a single employer, location, or economic cycle. You become anti-fragile in a fragile system. That level of independence is uncomfortable for institutions built on dependency, which is why skill building is rarely emphasized and often treated as secondary. The transition is already happening. Automation replaces roles, not skills. AI removes repetition, not creativity. The people who win aren't the most qualified on paper, but the most capable in practice. The ones who invest in learning that produces leverage, adapt faster than credentials can update, and build abilities that travel with them regardless of titles, trends, or systems designed to keep them waiting for approval rather than encouraging them to build something real that works. Discipline is the ultimate unfair advantage because it compounds silently while everything else fluctuates. Motivation is emotional, inconsistent, and unreliable. It shows up when conditions are perfect and disappears the moment discomfort appears. Discipline operates regardless of mood, energy, or external validation. It turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results through consistency that most people can't maintain. The reason discipline feels rare is because the environment actively works against it. Comfort is everywhere. Distractions are instant. Excuses are socially accepted. You're encouraged to listen to your feelings instead of commanding your actions. Over time, this trains people to negotiate with themselves, to delay hard tasks, and to quit when resistance appears. Discipline cuts through that negotiation. It removes choice and replaces it with standards. When two people have equal intelligence and opportunity, the disciplined one always wins. Not because they're smarter, but because they show up when it's boring, repetitive, and uncomfortable. They practice when no one is watching. They execute when others hesitate. This creates a gap that looks like talent from the outside, but is really accumulated follow-through. Discipline also creates freedom, not restriction. The disciplined person controls their time, habits, and reactions. They aren't ruled by impulses, notifications, or short-term pleasure. This self-control translates into external leverage. Health improves, skills sharpen, confidence stabilizes, momentum builds. Life becomes less reactive and more intentional. Most people misunderstand discipline as punishment. In reality, it's self-respect in action. It's choosing long-term outcomes over short-term comfort. It's doing what needs to be done even when no reward is guaranteed. That mindset changes how you approach every area of life. Work becomes a craft. Training becomes non-negotiable. Promises to yourself carry weight. The unfair part is that discipline has no entry barrier. Anyone can practice it, but few do because it offers no immediate dopamine. Its rewards are delayed, cumulative, and invisible in the beginning. That's why it works so well. While others wait for motivation, approval, or perfect conditions, disciplined individuals quietly build an advantage that widens over time, separating them from the crowd not through luck or privilege, but through daily decisions that feel small, unglamorous, and easy to skip, yet shape outcomes in ways that most people only notice when it's already too late.